You know Donnie.
Go back.
Muted.
I am muted here. I am muted.
I'm saying something.
I'm muted. I record you.
Like selling it. I've been doing it.
Samantha, you ready?
But I'm more. Got to start inside. Have to get.
All right. Do a piece of paper.
Samantha.
I said, no, I'm gonna be talking to whoever's on.
Where's your gavel?
We're gonna go ahead. Go ahead and get started this evening.
Set up.
Call to order the City of Centerton Planning Commission meeting, July 16th, 2024 with a roll call.
Dennis Swoboda, Tony Davis, Ben Lewis, John Tessa,
Here.
Jerry Harris, Greg Langford,
Here.
Devin Murphy, Joey Engel, Jeff Safer.
Here as well. All right, first thing on the agenda this evening is the approval of the minutes from our meeting on 7/2 of 24.
John, a motion to approve the planning minutes from 7/2/24.
Second. Motion and a second. Is anyone opposed? All right, next on the agenda is the ratification of the admin approvals. There's one, a track split 2405 for James at 11780 Walters Road. It is in the county with a parent track of 7.16, track one of 5.16 and track two of 2 acres. Any questions or comments from any of the commissioners or staff? I would entertain a motion to approve the admin approval.
So moved.
Second. Motion and a second. Is anyone opposed? All right, under old business this evening, we have MSI 2307, the watercolors carports, additional carports at 1709 East Centerton Boulevard. That is zoned R4 multifamily, 10.98 acres. And I would entertain a motion to bring this one back to the table.
John, a motion to bring MSI 2307 back to table.
Motion is second. Is anyone opposed? Bill, you want to give us an overview of what you all came up with?
Just as a recap, we had brought this to you before, and our client, before we were involved, installed a number of canopies over parking stalls, trying to provide some nicer parking spaces in the apartment complex. Did not get any approvals, and then came to us after the fact asking for that. So we went through that process and got everyone's approval at the last minute before we were heard. Carroll Electric had an issue with some of the locations, so we've resolved all that. We found some new locations for additional ones. And taking that through the process, all the departments said they're good with it.
Farah?
The new owners of Watercolors Apartments added carports over 6 parking spaces per each of the 5 buildings in phase 1 through 3 for a total of 30 covered parking spaces, and requesting approval after work has already been completed. The owners were unaware they needed approval from the Centerton Planning prior to. It was previously tabled on January 16th, 2024 due to the conflict with the utility department and the location of the carports. Due to water lines and utility easements, they will need to remove 12 of the original carports, 4 from each building, that were added prior to city approval. 3 of the existing carports that cover 6 parking spaces are to remain, with the addition of 3 carports that cover 2 parking spaces, 4 carports that cover 3 parking spaces, 2 carports that cover 4 parking spaces, and 4 carports that cover 6 parking spaces. The carports are metal structures with congruent metal roof. The carport footings were installed 6 feet deep and 2 feet wide, and it meets building safety requirements. The covered parking spaces will not impact the available number of parking spaces. The watercolors development was approved in 2016 prior to updates to the multi-family zoning code. Phase 1 has 4 existing carports that cover a total of 24 parking spaces to be removed, as shown in red. 1 existing carport is to remain that covers 6 parking spaces in blue. 4 new carports are to be added that covers a total of 14 parking spaces that are in purple. In phase 2, 4 existing carports that cover a total of 24 parking spaces are to be removed. That's in red. 1 existing carport is to remain that covers 6 parking spaces. That's in blue. And 2 new carports are to be added that cover a total of 5 parking spaces in purple. In phase 3, 4 existing carports that cover a total of 24 parking spaces are to be removed in red. 1 existing carport is to remain that covers 6 parking spaces in blue, and 9 new carports are to be added that cover a total of 41 parking spaces. The note about the carport that covers 4 parking spaces on the south side is no longer there. They removed it and that comment has been resolved. The zoning for this location is R4MF. The planning commission approved CU 1618 multifamily PUD in July of 2016 with a density of 22 units per acre and up to 3 stories for units on the perimeter of the site. The developer requested an amendment to the approved PUD, which increased, added a parcel, buildings and amenities, which was approved in December of 2018. With phase 3, an additional amendment to the PUD was requested to reduce the side yard setback from 50 to 40 feet to accommodate an additional building and was approved in June of 2021. No changes are requested for the current effective conditional use or PUD. City Utilities approved the proposed plans as they no longer sit on utility or water lines. Utility has noted to applicant that the center column for the proposed canopies near the southwest of phase 1 does not appear to meet clearance requirements to the existing sanitary sewer service line. Same for the 3-space canopy in phase 1 near the east side. As these are their service lines, they are the responsibility of the owner, but they wanted them to be aware before commencement of construction. All comments have been resolved and there's no outstanding comments at this time.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from any of the commissioners?
What's the net change? The ones you're taking away plus the ones you're adding back in? What's the,
Oh, I don't know that I have that number.
I thought your intent was to add more though, right?
It was, yeah, the directive to us was add as many as you can. And
Yeah.
we've done that, but there are a lot of utilities we're trying to avoid, so this is as good as we could get.
With that answer.
Yeah, I just didn't know. I mean, I just remember his intent was to add more, but I just like you're taking more away than you're adding back.
Yeah, we probably are.
Yeah.
We wish we weren't, but
And the existing ones, like the structural, those were like bolted in. I don't remember we.
yeah, they're driven in the ground deep.
Yeah.
So they'll have to be flush. Yeah.
Removal like work. Gosh, man.
It would have been better to have permission first.
Yeah, sometimes you don't ask permission afterwards, right?
Costs a lot more money.
So I will say they're removing what's in red. There's about 72 parking spaces. They have a total of 78 parking spaces right now.
You gained 6.
Hey,
I love what the Blues did.
At 17 million apiece.
Already there, they-
Yeah.
Sure. Are there any other questions or comments?
Does it, I mean, it doesn't look like it does, just looking at aerial photographs and stuff. Does this have any negative effect on the owner of the property behind you, behind us? Where these are going?
No, I don't.
I think they own that property next door too, don't they? They just hadn't developed it.
They don't own down here, but these are being removed.
Yeah, anything abutting a neighbor, I think is going away.
Then this is their
So the blue
building.
and the purple
Staying or being built.
are staying or being built.
The red's going away.
This is commercial over here.
That's storage.
Yeah, that's that storage unit, right?
Mhm.
Also to the south.
So the blue and the purple here on the backside are either existing or you're adding.
Yes, that's correct.
I think it's mostly commercial around them.
Is it?
Yeah, this is their property also.
Yeah,
Yeah, between the
Yeah.
ponds
Yeah.
and commercial.
And then further up,
And they own those ponds.
Commercial.
So,
so
yeah.
definitely commercial.
that right there is commercial property.
Yes,
And that's Popeyes.
Popeyes is up here. Popeyes, Taco Bell and Dubai.
Other side, yep.
Laundromat.
And Chipotle's is over here.
Yeah, it's pretty much all commercial.
Popeyes is there.
There's a small section on the south property line that's part of Kimmel Ridge, but the rest is all.
Yeah, more
Is there, I didn't see, and maybe I wasn't paying attention close enough. Is there lighting that's being added as well to this?
It's the carport.
It's just the carport, there's no lighting in addition to it.
What was the comment about the sewer line? The clearance.
Gotcha.
That's fine.
Making them aware.
They may need a real low clearance, mini excavator. to dig that out.
Yeah. Or have a bore pit in the middle of the parking lot.
All right, if there's nothing else, then I would entertain a motion to approve the MSI 2307 watercolors carports, the addition of the carports as all outlined here with the pluses and minuses.
This is Joey. I'll make a motion to approve MSI 2307 watercolors carports, addition of the carports as presented tonight at 1709 East Centerton Boulevard.
Second. Motion and a second. Is anyone opposed? All right, thanks for working through that, Phil.
Yeah, that's a lot of work, I know.
Yes.
Y'all don't really have a great.
All right, no new business this evening, under other business. Title 15 draft discussion only.
It is mainly what we want. We have a meeting set up with Garver tomorrow. So I don't know if anyone has had a chance to look at what was sent to you. And if you have any comments that you'd like for us to address with them. I'll be honest, I haven't been able.
I haven't read it all. He's got,
I wrote down two.
Okay.
he's always got an Excel sheet over here.
This is, might involve Brian as well, but as far as lot splits and getting right away at that time, is that something that we can do?
We are doing.
Okay.
Yes.
So we don't have to change anything in here, or current code to do that?
It is being changed in here to do that.
Okay.
Yes. And we do that now also.
Yeah, I know it's kind of been back and forth, but
What else you got? It was 104.
Sure.
you just give me some time, dude.
It's right now.
Yeah, come on.
When we
Can we
specify
go to page 34?
white oaks instead of red oaks.
It's
Are
the
you
site
bringing it?
triangle question, I think is where I.
Where's 88 parking spots?
Well, on what I will.
On page 34.
Oh, that.
Sorry.
Minimum parking space?
No,
Site
sorry. I just wrote down a page. I didn't write down. It was in the site triangle section.
Oh.
Site distance is on page.
Sorry, whenever I opened mine up on my computer, it was page
Site
34.
distance,
I apologize.
36.
36 in,
E.
T.
That was my page 34. The site distance. That's page 34.
What's this 36?
It's on page.
I don't know.
good Lord, love a duck.
So I had a question. So where it says to provide a reasonable degree of traffic visibility, landscaping, fences and walls. And I made a note, do we need to have something here around signs? And I didn't know if it was applicable here or not, but the other day, whenever I forget where I was leaving, but there was a sign erected that I couldn't see unless I pulled like halfway out in the street.
So this ASHTO deal, what's the height? Is it 3 to 6? What's that? Do you know that off the top of your head, Alan? There's a like,
No, it's the range of like, when you look at it, it's like they're doing it, it's based off of someone sitting in a passenger vehicle car, so it's not a truck or anything like that. So I mean, like, the truck height, so it's lower than that, but
yeah, but there's a clear zone, Jeff.
I thought there was 3 to 7.
It might
I
be
thought- I
3 to
was
7.
told The sign had to be 7 because.
I mean, there's several, it goes to the radius of the driveway and all this other stuff too. So there's different dimensions with different radiuses on the line of sight, and it's all covered by the ASS.
So that sign technically wouldn't, for a certain height, it would be fine.
well, you're more concerned with subdivision signs, not street signs, right?
Correct. And or even, I don't even know if we probably can't address in here, but even temporary signs.
Well, actually in the sign code, there should be things that that state, I mean, that they should not be in the line of sight. But I know I have found,
I didn't get out and pull it down because I was busy, but I should have.
Because it's easy to control what's in the right of way. But where we start to have problems at is when it gets off the right of way and into the private property.
Yeah, this was on the right.
Where the line of sight issue come in at, and that's where this guideline takes.
All right. I just didn't, for whatever reason, I didn't know if we needed to put it around.
That
Finding.
should cover you, Jeff.
And then on the gated communities, which for me was page 53, it's maybe 55 or something on this one. If I read it right, it said a maximum of 10 units.
That's what it says right now, yeah.
Huh?
And I was wondering what the thought process was behind that. Because both neighborhoods in town that are gated are larger than 10.
we talked a lot about that.
All of them.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Got one over there.
I don't know that we really settled on, that was like a. Their thought what I remember is that they didn't really like gated communities. Like the way that it cuts off, connectivity through the city. And then,
It's not a thoroughfare. That's the point of,
pardon?
shouldn't be a thoroughfare.
No, it's just that we have areas well, I don't know, I've lived in different cities where you might have a private area that's, that you can't go through, but I don't know, Garver kind of recommended that we really look at keeping streets public instead of promoting private streets.
Most cities.
Yeah, I know a lot of,
They make.
It's that the ones that we have
to us.
aren't a thoroughfare. They're is one,
Sure.
yeah, and I know,
An oak tree and.
and I know the other day, whenever that last development was in, I know there was a stub, but chances of it being used are limited, but
And we can look at today, but you look 20 years down the road and they're not being kept up, and then they turn over to the city. You've got to really look at how that's going to connect with the city.
yeah, and I like the language around all that. The 10 number just kind of caught me off guard.
We went back and forth.
Yeah.
Yeah, we back and forth.
So
Number.
we would take a recommendation on what you feel is a good number.
And I don't know if it is, but because if we, because there's, gosh,
Do we even limit I mean.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like there, like you said,
Matters. It's the connectivity. to
especially when you think
infrastructure.
about the mix of,
The terrain's gonna dictate because if you have
correct.
Yes. I
some
mean, like,
houses that are, on hills and stuff and others just, old farmland that's being developed.
I don't wanna say that'd be a case by case approval based on the connectivity to the infrastructure, what roads are running through there that connect to other roads, or, does it make sense or not make sense?
Because like, you're right. I mean, West End is a dead end.
Dead end.
Oak Tree is technically a dead end. The only other one.
Side is a dead end. Well, it's not.
It's not gated.
It's not gated. The only other gated one is out here.
The one that Roth has.
Connectivity. They've got connectivity.
So yeah, I
Looked at that as, maybe someday that would open up, and so they connect to arterial, a collector, and a minor arterial.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, your example though, if you say if the city takes it over at some point, the city get rid of the gate.
we was checking against the master street plan first and foremost, to even allow it, right? Because, we're not gonna let them put a gated community through.
Through the infrastructure, yeah, you just have to look
An
at
arterial road.
Correct.
Even if it's out there in.
So I wonder if there's language like that would,
I say in accordance with the master street plan, yeah.
because there are still some nice areas in town where we may want larger either sites or, something like that. I don't know, just talking out loud. I was just, the 10 number I was like, all right, well, we're telling people not to come in and
You don't want to take your gate down.
I don't care. I give anybody the code that wants it.
Apparently you do.
There's a lot of tailgaters, believe me. And I pay for this.
Yeah, I did. I didn't even see that. I didn't have any comments. Go back to your sign though.
Have language where it says.
Sign code now.
Shall we meet the?
Where connectivity street. is found in-
Go Edwards sign out of the way.
The big gated communities. Yeah, we don't have that language really. It's really, we just get rid of that requirement. And call it a day.
Those were the two things that I had.
I have one on page.
What language there you just say? Communities.
70,
70?
maybe 69, 68.
68.
Yeah. Somewhere in this landscape code, there was a reference to an inventory.
Reference to what?
Inventory.
Inventory.
Like a,
Right here. So it's on 68 and it's 3A2.
Oh, greater than 8 inches.
Yeah. What are we expecting on that?
Tree survey.
Yeah. I don't know that that's the,
Greater than, I would define greater than 8 inches. I assume you mean trunk circumference,
yeah,
not 8 inch tall.
at breast height, yeah, but that can be very
We had,
overwhelming.
we talked.
Yeah,
about
pine trees may not even get.
that. Some trees, 8 inches is appropriate, other trees.
Some trees may not get 8 inches.
Well, but what's the point, right? I say I'm okay with them inventorying them if they want to count them towards the tree requirement. But I think just to inventory them, if they're gonna blow them all down, that's just a waste.
Because you're saying shall be.
Yeah.
I-
And I think that's a little excessive. I've worked in Fayetteville and it's excessive. So that would be my recommendation, is that if a tree is going to be counted towards a landscape requirement, then it shall be inventoried.
And I thought that language was in that section.
I might have missed it, but
There's $1 million fine if you cut it down anyway.
That's what it is in Rogers.
Should be. You should go 30 days.
I
was driving today and it irritated me, yeah.
When you say this is part of our landscape plan, you cut them down anyway?
well, there's also a 2-year maintenance guarantee in here for those. And 90% of them have, or better, have to be good. Or I guess we pull that bond and replant them.
Still bitter about all that wasted walnut.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I ain't letting it go. Ain't letting it go.
On this one, if you have a 20-acre parcel and you have mainly farm field, and you have 10 trees,
That's not a big
that's
deal.
where saying it's doing it even if they're blowing them over.
Why?
But if you have the section area,
But why?
because the option is if you can lay out your lot lines, there's no reason why you have to not.
Well, and the survey is gonna pick up the trees.
Well, this also shows if there's a large section of trees, you can show the canopy.
I saw that, so that was a little conflicting to me as well.
Well,
Cause it says to pick up every tree, inventory every tree over 8 inches, but it says if there's a large canopy, you can show the canopy line.
That's more so where I'm looking at if you're gonna knock it all over.
However we need to write it, I just wanna make sure we're not asking people to go do an inventory on 40 acres worth of trees that we're just gonna cut down anyway. That's just a waste.
so. But we do want to know if there's areas where there's a big swath of trees. Especially during.
I'm not saying they're not gonna pick them up. They should pick them up
Okay.
on the survey. But this says shall. So providing a list of every single tree on there that's 8 inches or larger in diameter.
But it's saying, okay, but it says also in areas where there are large sections, then the approximate edges of the canopy may be shown instead of inventory every tree that's in that area,
The first part's assuming
that they're sporadic.
tree here,
Yeah, I get that.
Tree there.
tree over there.
Okay. I wanna make sure of our intent,
Okay.
right? I don't wanna go overboard. So if y'all are good with
Maybe
that,
combining that together, maybe combining that together to say, evidence shall be shown and inventoried. Otherwise, or, you know, it's sounds like those are,
to me, those kind of, yeah.
those need to be combined and say, do this or that.
What?
The biggest concern there is the inventory part, not the shown part.
Yeah. Or except, shown and inventoried, except for in areas where there are large sections, you may do this. So.
Okay.
So when we had that issue of that developer.
I'll get mad at me.
we said, "You gotta keep these, you gotta keep all those.
Yep.
And then they went in there and, you know, knocked them down. And is this where we address that happening and penalties that come with that, or?
We technically already have ordinance that
Well,
it's
We,
supposed to.
we aligned on a resolution of them planting extra trees at larger whenever they finish the
I
development.
remember that's
But
what.
that was them asking forgiveness.
Right.
yeah.
Right, I mean, I felt like we kind of
Tree farming.
made that up in the moment
Yeah.
as a, you know.
Well, because penalties are not our. I mean,
But I didn't know if that needed, is this where you address something like that, or?
Well, I don't know on this. I can tell you in that particular instance, and I don't know if it's happened though, but I mean, we directed code enforcement to issue citations for each and every one of them. I have not seen it come through. Maybe they paid it, maybe they haven't done it. I kind of doubt they, you know, that's.
So that would be a code enforcement thing.
It would be, but this section could help. E down here, that's the tree maintenance agreement. It says all plans requiring street trees per this chapter shall include a binding 2-year maintenance and monitoring plan, which shall hold the applicant responsible for the health of all planted street trees. I think we should revise that to include
Just planting,
anything,
just,
anything that they wish to retain to count towards that,
not just street trees.
and not just street
All of
trees.
them.
I don't
I
know.
like that. That's a good solution.
Build a neighborhood, then burn the trees down. And
Do we not have to be careful about when your trees are on private property, right? And if we're requiring that tree to stay, they can come back and say that's a taking. If they meet the requirement, we can have requirements on trees, right? You gotta have so many trees, such percentage, whatever. But if we start getting into their survey, and saying you gotta keep this tree and you gotta keep that tree, is that not?
Well, I mean, you're absolutely right, and it's a gray area, and we've got to be particularly careful on both sides of that fence, quite frankly. Because I mean, they are a private landowner, they have a right to do what they want to with their property, but to a certain extent, I mean, we have a, you know.
Right, we can control
Exactly,
the regs.
right.
Or trees that their property is gonna have. I don't know if we can control necessarily the exact location of existing trees.
Well, and I think the difference in this is it was part of an agreement that we entered into, and arguably, I think perhaps what we could do would be to make it more contractual in nature and lay it out exactly what would be damages for a breach of that agreement. But I think you are onto something that, I mean, we can't just lay out a policy saying, no, you can only keep this many trees or that, because you know, the topography of the land, it's completely different. And what's it taking on one guy's property very well may not be, you know, a couple acres down.
It's not a taking if you've then used those trees in your survey as part of your tree requirement, then it's not a taking, you're using that as part of your
If
requirement.
they produce a plan and say, this is our plan, then we can
Yeah.
hold them to that plan.
Yeah, I'm with you, and that goes back to the inventory thing, is like, you can't say, oh, this is a really nice tree, you have to keep it like Fayetteville does. I don't think that's right. But yeah, I hear where you're coming from.
I agree. My only little pushback, and it's not really even pushback, it's more like just a high five kind of thing, but is at some level, I do feel like we need to fight to preserve
Mhm.
something. Yeah, I mean, some of our community in, I mean, if 100-year-old oak is there, I mean,
And you can send, you can.
but not on a, I mean,
Do that, Brandon, by incentivizing, giving, just like we do like road contracts, you know, we tell a contractor, hey, if you complete this road, you know, 10 days ahead of schedule, it's X amount of dollars that we're gonna give you. It's an incentive, disincentive, because if you go over this contract, then you're gonna be fined this much. So maybe if you wanna put some kind of incentive for keeping existing tree canopy.
There you go.
We do.
I know, I like.
I like that.
It's in here,
That's-
right?
It's in here.
That's what the, yeah, that's what the credits.
I like that.
Be a normal
The
process.
problem is, it's when people wanna put like a driveway, in there, that's where their driveway, that's the only spot it can go. There's a huge tree and they say, well, you gotta keep that tree, and they're like, well, I kinda need a driveway to do.
Right.
But yeah, I'm with you. I think everywhere it makes sense, we should keep existing trees.
I like the incentive. I mean, I think might be a good solution.
It's in here.
Cool.
Okay, so here's where we have the preservation and landscape. So if you preserve this tree, then you get credits.
Okay, yeah, there it is.
There you go.
Nothing that we can do, but I think that the enforcement side of code enforcement. That's gonna be the next electric.
Does this fall under the 2-year?
This, I believe that 2-year all of this.
Not happy about
it was resolved.
And I think we need to address what happens when one of those trees doesn't survive. Could we just say it needs to be replaced by what you were credited?
Say it one more time.
So let's say that somebody has a 36-inch tree that they want to keep in the middle of their site. Well, they do a bunch of grading and dirt work around it and it dies. At that 2-year mark, can you say, well, this is what you were credited with because you took that tree, but your dirt work and your site activities actually killed that tree, so this credited line is what you have to replant.
I think you potentially could, now you've got to make the determination of causation.
It does.
Well, I mean, you know, so I mean,
Talking about lightning.
the tornado that just came through. Yeah, I mean, and that's, just make the determination of what you want to do on, if we've lost all these trees. They have to put those in then at this point. If it's within 2 years.
Act of God.
Okay, that's the only thing that I see is that trees or tree canopy areas damaged during construction may not be eligible for the tree preservation credit. So I will ask about,
Can we add something to the
Something.
maintenance thing to that? Because it could look fine for a year and a half,
yeah,
and then you got 2 tree arborists out there arguing with each other on what's gonna happen.
I say it was Joey that killed it.
You have to replant a 36-inch tree.
What other stuff we need to look at?
Yeah, did y'all have a list for us?
not yet. I mean,
Oh, that's fine.
we're gonna go through it tomorrow, now that we've got a clean draft. And then we'll make those things that we know that we need to discuss with you. And I also just wanted to ask, do you think it would, I kind of feel that it would be better to have Garber come and discuss with, to have them here with you and go through it like we did before. Whether we want to do it like after we get done with business and, or set up separate work sessions, so.
I mean, I think it depends on the upcoming agendas. If they're like tonight, obviously, we can have them. I don't want them to read 119 pages, obviously, but I want them to highlight, you know, some of the key things. Especially if there's things that we make decisions on,
Mhm.
then I think having them highlight those would be good.
How far out do you have to schedule and plan there?
How far
How
out?
far advanced do you have to schedule that? Cause like, we don't know how like the schedule's gonna be, but 2 weeks at a time, right?
No, they've
You
got,
should have a pretty good idea that you, within a couple of weeks or.
yeah, because they've got the next 2 or 3 agendas up on the wall over there already.
Juliet's still working on it?
Yeah.
She kind of knows our mojos.
Like a pine tree telephone pole.
Did we, access management, as far as driveways, that's in here? I think we discussed that last time.
Parking center.
Not driveways per se, I don't think, more about connectivity and making sure that.
It says, it just kind of points it back to this provided within
Yeah.
chapter 9. 501. What?
There are things in Title IX that, I know, our code book, our development and code is so spread out with, under different titles. With our street, our drainage, our fines. Maybe eventually bring it all back in together. One thing that I would like to do is also bring our zone development all. And under one, because there's things in here that we need to adjust our zoning and just have one planning and development code section. A lot, and most cities do that. So,
So the minimum drive width of 30, do you think you'll get pushback on that?
for commercial drives,
You might, but
That
trying to
we
fit a
need it.
22, a truck turning in on a 22 and someone going out.
22, normally it's 24, but I mean, I love wider drive widths. I just think sometimes that could be hard to accomplish. But I'm bringing it up, they can always ask for something different, right?
So they often ask for wider anyway, just because they're asking for 34 and 11, 11 and a 12. Or even 11, 11, 14. It all depends on what they're turning from, off what, and what their anticipated traffic is.
Well, this is just drive through a normal site, right? Typically it's 24,
commercial drives, yeah.
but this is through their site, right?
This is the driveway off of it.
This would be like the driveway for Walgreens off of 102.
There's a difference.
Commercial drives shall be designed and built to a minimum 30-foot wide.
Yeah,
It doesn't go for interior drives, that's just the
that's
entrance.
the entrance coming off of 102 into Walgreens.
Oh, okay.
There's a
Something
different,
else.
there's a.
Drive aisle dimensions,
Number 9,
24-foot minimum width.
I have a different
35.
copy.
Okay, perfect.
35.
Yeah, don't ask me for pictures.
Did you hear me?
Which page?
35.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was listening to Kayla, I didn't hear
Should
you.
we call it like an entrance drive or drive? Way?
Not entrance drives.
Okay.
And what was the minimum? Parking island size? Is it the same 9 by 18? Something about 5 feet. I don't think that's it.
No, I think that was a buffer.
What
I
happened?
want to say it was 8.
You were too. I did. You have 2 questions. That's all you can do.
It's not my daily job. I don't do this shit every day.
That it fit with.
Glad I came up with 2 questions.
Yeah, I read it.
9 by
So after you said it, I'm like, oh yeah, I just
18?
code enforcement 18, didn't you?
Yeah, 'cause that's what
On
the
table.
I don't think they even have a book.
That's good one.
Oh, that's what I thought it
What
was.
up, Count?
He said 18, I thought it was.
Or mine is.
To do a search of the document.
Sorry.
Parking island.
Says
You guys are one of my off.
That's not right.
Okay, B shall be planting islands protected by curb and size with the approximate dimensions of a standard parking stall. Generally 180 square feet, but may vary slightly in accordance with the proposed parking layout or in a continuous landscaping area with an 8-foot minimum width. And then assume page 75.
Well, you get a lot of flexibility with that 8-foot width where normal parking spot's 9. So normal is 9 by 18, 172. You said 180 and a minimum width of 8, so you get some flexibility in that sizing.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. I just want to make sure it went 5 feet because it's kind of hard for a tree to do well in 5 feet. Cool. I think it looks a lot different and better than when we first got it. Been a lot of work in this.
There are a lot of revisions, but I'll tell you, you get overwhelmed when you're working on it and you're going through and then it's like.
104 pages.
The brain starts to spin in circles.
Yeah.
I think it's in progress though. I mean, we're getting, been a long time. We keep saying, follow our draft.
How long have I been on this?
Instead of saying, to the code, we can't say that. We, you know, we follow our draft.
Nothing about dumpsters and closures. It's made up.
Think about what,
Dumpster enclosures.
Materials.
Material, composite,
Size?
wood,
I think just materials
material,
and you guys like landscaping around them, right? So that,
some kind of landscape screening and materials.
yes.
I haven't tried this.
Chain link fence isn't gonna work.
Right next to the right of way.
Yeah, you got it right next to you.
On the line. On the line.
This will make it easier for them to get.
all right, anything else on this?
That's it for right now.
Okay.
I know it seems like we're just taking baby steps. It's. We've been having so many meetings lately, it's been like about impossible for us to even find time to go through this.
So you put your meeting with Garver tomorrow?
Yes, we're out late afternoon, so.
They'll give you a timeline after that or?
Yeah, we'll work on a timeline also, and we'll kind of look ahead on the schedule and then see how to go through this, and we'll try to do it in bite-sized chunks.
Okay.
Chunks, not pieces, chunks. Okay.
Thank you, guys. Let me see here. Our next planning commission meeting is 8/6. Can't be here, please let us know. There's a secretary meeting the 18th. And I'll see you before the next council meeting. Anything else from staff? Anything else from any of the commissioners?
Pulling up, I just wanted to pull up the agenda, just, you all have the agendas to look at to see what's coming ahead. So I don't know if you ever look at those. We do have,
I look at them when Diane sends them out.
when she sends them out. Okay, they're also in Dropbox.
That's,
There's a lot of tentatives on here, but we do have a conditional use for an ADU in West Bend. A rezone for Dune Prairie Valley West.
Regional structure.
So that's on Himmel Road, next to, Dunes at Prairie Valley are the apartments. They're by the concrete plant, and there's that little piece next to them. So they're going to just kind of add on, so it's called Prairie Valley West.
so they acquired that?
They did,
Featherston in the dunes.
yeah. So we found we have a little piece of Featherston where they bought the property and then they added for their detention pond and their drainage. That was never rezoned. It wasn't included in the rezone, so we've got a agricultural.
Does that give us enough right away to do anything there?
We have a
Okay.
need there. Oh, I know. I wish I had a map of it, but
Yes.
you'll see it on the map. Then we do have a post office edition. We'll let you see it. There's not a whole lot. We can give them comments, but they're federal. They'll do what
Yeah.
they.
Is that a administrative approval?
You gonna tell the postmaster what?
That's. It really is an administrative approval on that.
Postmaster got some cool.
So maybe the second meeting in August, I think that'd be the earliest, wouldn't it? I doubt they could get them done by the.
Yeah, I'd say that.
No, for the,
To review the, yeah.
I know it says tentative, but the flex space, it says 1812 East Centerton. That's the Jiffy Lube.
It's behind the.
It's
Jiffy Lube.
behind the Jiffy Lube.
And we have Tuscany, tentative Tuscany phase 4
Memorize the addresses of city.
Okay.
and Silver Dream subdivision. And that's on the corner of First Avenue.
So if we're okay with everything on the second meeting of August, then we need 30 days because we have to publish it, correct?
Well,
it's not a public
it
hearing.
will be the public hearing. It's if you all want to go through and we need to make, I think that the commission should go through it first.
Right, but if we do that on the second meeting of August,
It would not be a public hearing open to the public to give input on it yet until we get a final document that we're ready.
I understand. I understand.
Because we'll still have, whatever, whenever the discussion is, then we'll go ahead and put that on the agenda so that people come and listen.
Okay. All right.
This is the piece she was talking about, that would still be A1.
And that was part of Featherston's.
What is that?
This is Kimmel Road. Zoom out this
Yeah,
bit.
I got it now.
So it would be this piece here,
The concrete plant's the one that says they want, right?
right here. But this would be the piece. Teresa. But that would leave this.
Who owns that?
A1.
Featherston,
part of
it
their
was
pond.
part of their pond.
But they didn't rezone it and add it to the track.
No.
Why don't they just want taxes?
Well,
I
no,
think it just got.
it
missed.
just got missed.
Yeah.
It should have.
Forgive this thing.
Who owned that A1, man? I'd like to own that piece right there. Won't cost you.
All right. If there's nothing else, then I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
Motion to adjourn in a second. Is anyone opposed? Thank you, guys. Brian?
I know, what am I gonna do? It's, I guess it's.
Been here for 15 minutes and.
It's wrong. Huh?